Hello, everybody. AJ Craft here. How are you? I'm well, thank you. I wanted to talk today about getting leads because that is a big issue for entrepreneurs everywhere. We all want more leads, and we're all scrambling and struggling and buying courses to tell us how. And I think that I have an easier answer for you, but it's going to require you to believe me. And if you don't know me, how can you believe me? But I promise you, what I'm going to give you today will instantly give you more of a response and automatically start attracting the right people to you, and will be so much easier than what you've been doing. Okay, so let's kind of get started with that. So I feel, because I'm online looking around constantly, I feel like people drastically underestimate copy. I think they underestimate it because it's painful, because many people don't want to do it. They don't like to write. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to write it. They don't know. And when you don't know something, it's painful to try to learn, especially if you don't know where to begin. So I get it, but it's still not solving your problem. It's still not helping you. Like, avoiding this is not helping your business, and your message is everything. Wait. Sorry. Master your message? Sorry. Okay. I'm new here. Can you tell? Anyway, so you have to get a grasp on your message, okay? You have to know who you're serving. You have to know who they are. And I know you're going to say, I've heard all this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you have, but it hasn't hit home yet. It hasn't hit home yet on a personal level of understanding what that means. And it sounds simple, but it is simple, but you have to kind of get with the deeper meaning about it, okay? And basically, if you want to hit home runs, if you want to get people just, holy crap, that was an amazing post. Holy crap, that was compelling. Great copy, bravo, likes, hearts, all the, the whole nine. You are going to need to understand the psychology behind the people you're trying to serve. And there's so many tips here that I'm trying to not be sporadic, but first of all, you need to come from a place of service. It's really hard to do that when the bills need to be paid and you're worried about, your next income or your next paycheck. But I promise you that once you focus on service, not only will your heart be in the right intention, but your copy will too. Your mind is going to be aligned with what you need to focus on about them. So before you start anything, approach with having the heart of service to just help them. It doesn't matter what you get in return. You're not looking for the money. You're not looking for anything. Help them. Like, find people to help. Then use the law of reciprocity, which is giving them something of value without expecting anything in return. It is human nature for people to want to reciprocate once they've been shown a kindness. And 9 times out of 10, they always do. Okay? So how do you do that in your copy? Well, you offer them something of value, but not just like run-of-the-mill stuff, like not just something that you've seen everywhere before. First of all, you need to know who they are. So if they're in the real estate business and it's the life of a real estate agent or a broker, you need to know what that means. What are their hardships and trials on a daily basis? What do they hate doing about, in their job? What do they loathe, like following up on leads? Do they hate that? Are they lazy about that? You need to know what that pain is for them. You need to know how pleasurable it would be for them to release that pain and not be able to endure it anymore. And that's usually where you find your solution. If you can help them solve their problem, they'll get out their wallets every single time. But conveying that in copy is the trick. And again, it comes from their personality, like understanding the psychology about how people work. So once you have a good idea of just a deep understanding of who they are and what their pain is, and this takes some research. Like, you can't just sit there and expect like, oh, I'm going to, browse through Google and find a couple posts and, oh, that must be, like, listen to some stories, like get in deep, do the research. And I'm not going to lie to you, like it takes longer to research and write one piece of copy than it does just to, machine gun out 10 pieces. I mean, you can do that, but it's going to be crap. It's going to be white noise. Nobody's going to, and you've wasted your time. You've wasted your time. It's not necessarily about quantity. It's about quality, and just, I always say, like, hit them right between the eyes, because this white noise that is constantly online, like we are scrolling 3 seconds, like 3 seconds to get their attention, and they're, or they're gone. So you need to be mindful that with every piece of copy, you're allowed, give yourself permission to take time on it. Not too much time, but take time on it to really make sure you're covering their pain points, the psychology behind their life, a day in their life, as well as promising them, like showing them there's a better way and how you can help them, and then giving them a call to action. So if you do that, I mean, just that alone, you're going to start getting more responses or comments. And I'm going to tell you, you don't even have to talk about what you're selling. Like, you don't have to talk about your business, your industry. Sometimes just most times, a personal interest story about an experience that you've had is enough to trigger people's emotions and have empathy for you, or relate to you in some way that they want to get involved. That is the secret. Like, if you want to get somebody involved, trigger their emotional points that they can resonate with you, that they can find a common bond. And people resonate with pain. They resonate with pleasure. There's a human experience that we all share. I mean, there's several instances of that. Find those, and don't be afraid to open up. You have to be vulnerable before people are going to trust you to open up to you, to give you anything. And I hope that makes sense. So aside from all of this, there are 3 or 4 things, like actual action tips, that I want to share with you. And it's to put more personality in your writing. Okay, so you have the psychology now, you've got the research, you know their pain points and what they're struggling with. Here is how you actually write it out, where that personality comes out on page. And it's so much easier doing it this way. I recommend starting out with just a mess, an ugly mess of copy. Like, you have your ideas and you're just scattering them on the paper. You're not thinking about it. You're not trying to write even complete sentences. You're just trying to get the ideas out of your head of what you want to talk about. Okay. You need clay to mold. I don't know why we believe that we're supposed to write something down the first time perfectly. Like, I know we were told to outline and pre-write, but we don't listen to that. We just want to get it over with. I'm telling you, make it as ugly, like intentionally make it ugly, so that you have something to work with later, because it's 1,000 times easier if you already have something down, instead of like trying to figure it out in your head of what should I put first or what should I put second. Get it down, okay? Then you've got the clay, then you can mold it, and then you're going to use these tips. So the first one, in order to write with more personality, you need to think outside the context or the industry of what you're talking about. So if you can compare what's going on with something unrelated, you can help paint the picture for your clients or your audience of what you're trying to say. So if you're talking about an experience or a vacation you had that was miserable in miserable service, like, how would you compare it to something else in another context or a different industry? Comparison, paint a visual. Okay, that's the first one. But the second one kind of goes in line with this. Exaggerate everything. If it's hot, it's not just hot, okay? It's sun scorching, flesh eating, hell. Okay, extremes, okay? So that's the second one. The third one is to stop summarizing the words, like hot, hard, cold. These are overused words. People just glaze right over them and keep on going. Take the time to slow down. Use thesaurus.com. I always say that, because type in hot. What other words mean hot? Take the time to do this. I'm telling you, you will make more money if you take the time up front to revise your copy in a way that speaks to people on an emotional level. Okay? So slow down, stop using those overused summarized words, okay? Literally spell out, paint the picture. That's the next one. That's the next technique, is painting a picture. Write like a photograph. What does a photograph look like? Describe what's going on in there. Instead of saying, you know, she went over to the car and she opened it and a dozen cats ran out. Like, what does that feel like? What does that smell like? What does it look like? You know, use the senses when you're doing that. So if you put all of these together, and so you, like, if you're writing your copy first draft, you got the ugly blog, okay? Then take each tip, go through that copy, and wherever you can, implement that tip. Go through the checklist of these 3 or 4 that I just told you about until you're done. And then when you're done, reread it. And I want you to save the original, because you're going to put them side by side and you're thinking, holy crap, did I just write that? And I promise you, like, that is the bulk, as like, I'm a copywriter, that's the bulk of what I use for my clients to turn their copy from just blah, mediocre to spectacular. Now remember, I said you have to do the research of your customer avatar, and I will cover like a more detailed video later. But using these tips, it's amazing. It's 1,000% better. And that's great practice. Like, it's really good practice. And you start with something small. Like, you could start with a paragraph. Start with a paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences, and apply these tips I just gave you. Okay? And I want to see your original and your revision. So make sure, like, screenshot it in this thread, because I would love to see what you did. And I've just saved you thousands of dollars. I charge like $9.97 for a 6-week course to teach writers how to do this, like teach entrepreneurs how to make their copy good. I mean, I offer a ton more bonuses, and we go through your specific copy and all that. Like, I offer a ton there. But I'm just saying, if you like use these tips alone, you can do this. You can totally do this yourself. So I hope that is helpful and provides value. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Try it on a paragraph. I'm excited to see what you come up with. So until next time, I will talk to you then. Have a great day, and don't forget to master your message. See you later.